Let's get out of school with it. Oh, 3:40. Time your kids get out? Gimmer gets out around 2:50, I think. Yeah, they start probably like, I think they start like 7:50 or so, or 7:40 or 50. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Oh. Are they supposed to be on the cameras or off their cameras or what's this? Has anything changed or not? Do you know?
It should probably take care.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I like to see them. My big thing is when they talk, I wish there was a way for them not to pop up, because then we can't use that
There
video.
might be a way in settings.
We just,
So where they pop up, but it doesn't record. I'll try to set that up.
that'd be the only thing I would say. We could figure that out, because in that way, if we like, say we like the whole thing, which we don't always, but if we like it, we don't have to go in.
You wouldn't mind if you looked at it and ask a question. That's not recording the face. It's just them talking.
Yeah, because no one's gonna know. Because no one even knows their own voice when they hear it, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't. I wouldn't recognize my voice. Okay. Give him another minute, and then we'll get on. Yep, still got a couple minutes. And then we'll figure out this one out, and we'll break it down and put one out, put an email out about it. But, yeah, this weather's nice. I wonder what the temperature is up there. What's the temperature? What do you think?
72. 74.
78. It's been 78 right now. Shows 78.
Okay, I think I fixed.
Bill, I think it felt really good this morning. Tonight's low. Think about this. Tonight's low is 51.
So,
You could use that.
do you think turning off record thumbnails and share?
Hello, everybody. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Today I'm going to talk about a couple of vitamins you guys are probably familiar with. But we're going to go in depth on a couple of them because I see it all the time when we look at the testing, when we test genetics or we test for vitamins. So I'm going to show you what those tests look like too. So hopefully you get a good idea of today. We're going to talk a couple vitamins, the couple of B vitamins. We're going to talk about B9, which is folate. And then we're going to talk about B12, which is methylcobalamin. And then we're going to talk about vitamin D. So we're going to talk about them, go in depth about them, show you what a genetic test looks like on them, and show you what a blood test looks like on them. And then that way, if you do get a test from your doctor, you'll know why. And maybe you've never had these tested before, but I would definitely look at getting them tested. So when we look at the vitamins and the mineral deficiencies, they can lead to a wide range of health issues, including fatigue, weakened immune function, and various diseases. So And we look at this, vitamin deficiencies occur when the body does not receive enough essential nutrients. These deficiencies can arise from inadequate dietary intake, poor absorptions if you have leaky gut, or other medical conditions. Common deficiencies include A, D, and B12, and minerals like iron and iodine. So I picked vitamin D and B12, and I threw B9 in there for methylation. So I picked three big ones that I see a lot of that people are deficient in, and it's an easy fix if you know what you're doing. So we're going to go in depth on that. Um, so these are some of the symptoms that women in particular feel if they're vitamin deficient, just in general. Now, this is just being in general. We'll get specific here in a few minutes. But in general, women are going to be, if they're vitamin deficient, they're going to be fatigued and have muscle weakness. They're going to have dry skin, brittle hair, nails. I know you guys don't spend any money on that stuff. If you really want to spend money on it, spend it on the vitamins because that's what's going to make it. Okay. I got into a talk today and, somebody was talking about putting all this stuff on their skin. And I'm like, hey, you know what? That's okay. But here's the deal. If you don't get this stuff in your body, it's never going to make it to the skin. So that stuff's not going to work. Now, um, we use beef tallow. My daughter does, and her skin looks amazing. But she does this stuff. She supplements. Do you see what I'm saying? And she's young. She's 21, so she's got that going for her. But on the other hand, as we age, and I know we're not getting any younger, I'm 52, I've noticed a few more wrinkles, a few more gray hairs and stuff. And I feel pretty good. But here's the thing, you kind of have to work it from the inside out. So really think these vitamins, if you're deficient, you're not going to have, you're going to have dry skin, brittle hair, nails. And then we go to neurological changes such as numbness and tingling sensations. That's not normal. Then we look at poor wound healing. Does it take you a while to heal? Are you susceptible to infections? If you are, then, vitamin D is a big one for your immune system, and we'll talk about that. And then here's one too, irritability and mood changes. This is, I see this a lot. And if you're methylation, we'll call it vitamin B9 and B12, if you're deficient in those, you're not going to make neurotransmitters, guys. So understand it's kind of like if you're trying to make a cake and you get through the recipe and you go, well, I don't have eggs or I don't have milk. Okay, well, you're probably not going to make a very good cake, but you're going to go, oh, are you going to go, oh, I'm going to go ahead and make it anyway? No, you're not. And so, but we don't think about that in the body. We think about, let's go get the quick fix. Let's go get that beef tallow and put it on my skin so it makes it look beautiful. But I'm telling you, it's more than just the beef tallow. The beef tallow assists you, but it doesn't give you these things. You have to have these vitamins in order to get it. Okay. So when we look at methylation, we don't want to complicate it. Methylation is just, it's a biochemical process where we add a methyl group, a carbon and three hydrogens to a molecule, okay? And it shows in gene expressing and DNA repair. It helps with immune responses and nutrient conversions, guys. Nutrient conversions. You got to be thinking about that. If you take in vitamin D, you want to convert it into your body so that your body can utilize it. If your body can't utilize it, it's like depositing money in a checking account that you can't get access to. Who cares at that point, right? So, methylation is significant in health, affecting cardiovascular health, hormone production, and neurotransmitter synthesis. So, if you have issues with anxiety or depression or concentration, this is the base of that stuff too. This is going to help. This is not going to hurt. And so we'll go through there and we'll show you what when you guys were pregnant, remember they told you to take folate, right? And folate is B9, but we're going to get into that. So folate deficiency occurs when the body does not get enough folate or B vitamin, that's B9, essential for cell division and the production of DNA. Causes include inadequate dietary intake, certain medical conditions, increased body needs, all that. It says symptoms may include fatigue, weakness, mouth sores, and neurological issues. So to prevent this folate deficiency, it's important to consume a diet rich in folate containing foods, which in today's world, I don't think you can eat enough leafy greens because there's no nutrients in the soil anymore. It's all been depleted, okay? And you definitely don't want to eat fortified cereals. Fortified cereals would be you'd be eating a ton of gluten and a ton of sugar. So you're going to have to get it another way through like supplementing. Now B9 was That's the one that all the doctors said take folic acid so for your baby. But here's why. Because it's gonna prevent the baby from having things like spina bifida or cleft palate. Okay. That's why it's so important, guys, because you will abort if if it's bad enough, it will abort. So when I see ladies who can't get pregnant, usually they have methylation issues. Okay. So that's why we're talking about it. And even the medical field recognizes that. Now, here's the problem with it. Let me show you the problem. This is methylation. Okay, this is the process. Now, here's the way you got to look at this. They say take this vitamin, and they're right. In a perfect world, it would go all the way down here and become L-methylfolate. But in the real world, we have these things called gene SNPs. So we have a problem with this one. We might have a problem with this one. We might have a problem with this one and a problem with this one. So if we start off with like 100 here, just keep it in numbers, keep it simple, you might only end up with 30 down here. Okay. Now it's still got to go and do other things, right? It's got to go and do other things. So that's where we run into problems. We think we're getting 100, but we're really only getting 30. Okay. If you're a bad methylator. Now I'm going to show you what a bad methylator looks like on a genetics test. Okay. So remember, it's got to go through all these processes. So if you can't go through these processes and you lose 70% because you're losing 70% of your methylation, then why not just take methylated folate? Why did those doctors tell you to take folic acid? See, they didn't know about this back then. Okay. Now they know. They're like, oh, don't even take this because this isn't all your fortified foods and this isn't good. And if you take this and you can't break it down to methylated folate, guess what? This builds up and you become sick. Okay. So that's what we're finding out now. So here's what a methylation test looks like. Here's B9 methylation. Okay. So if we see red or yellow, that's not good. Green is good, yellow's moderate, and red is severe. This is the worst gene. If they're ever going to check a gene on you for methylation, I promise you it's going to be the 677T. You can lose up to 70% of your methylation if this is homozygous. If this is red, you could lose up to 70%. So it's big. Now, this person not only has this one heterozygous, but they have three other ones. So again, if they started off with folic acid, they might only end up around 30 here. And this is what goes in every cell, like we talked about, and makes the neurotransmitters and the hormones and makes everything work. Okay. So that's B9. Now, we got another one we look at. We talked about B12 is the same. It's got to go through a similar process. Now, if this guy has this, and this compromised, he's going to have the same problem with B12 that he did B9. Okay. So that's why it's important to take methylated vitamins. It's because it's kind of like you're getting a jump start. It's like you're getting a lead. You're running a race and you're getting a lead. Who wouldn't want to take that? And so when you're looking at methylated vitamins, you got to realize you obviously at the end of the day you have to get to the methylated form of B12. You're going to start here, but you got to end up here. If you just take this form right off the bat, it just makes it so much easier on your body because it doesn't have to go through all these processes. Okay? And then it can go here and do what it needs to do. Now, if you're going to take the I'll say the cheap vitamins that got folic acid in them, you're not going to do very well because your body's not going to break it down. Again, it's not going to utilize it, okay? It can't. It loses it. It can't convert it. So that's why we say, well, let's just start off with the methylated version and then it'll get there. So, let's go to this. Let's talk about vitamin D. So that was methylated vitamins, and we'll circle back around and talk about it if anybody has any questions. Now, vitamin D, what is it good for? Okay. It's good for bones. It plays a crucial role in maintaining bone health by enhancing calcium absorption and preventing excessive calcium loss. So here's the deal. For all of you who have osteoporosis, are you getting your vitamin D levels checked? You should, because if you don't have vitamin D, you can take all the calcium in the world. It's not going to work. They're telling you right here, it's not going to work. Okay. This is common in functional medicine. It also, vitamin D is good for your immune system. So it helps your immune system modulate things. So again, it's going to help with your immune cells. They're going to be able to fight off infections. And I use this, I mean, I say this and I'm kind of joking, but I'm not joking. When someone's sick and they're around me, I almost welcome it because I want to see if I get sick. If I get sick, then I'm not as prepared as I thought I was. So if I have patients and they're coming in the office, oh, I don't want to come see you, Dr. Walsh, because I'm sick. I'm like, no, 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 no. Please come. Please come. I want to get sick. If you can get me sick, then something's wrong because my vitamin D levels are off, my B vitamin, I'm not eating right, I'm not exercising. So you got to think of it that way. And everybody, tells grandma, hey, grandma, stay inside and don't do anything. No, no, no. Grandma needs to be doing things. Grandma needs to strengthen her immune system. Grandma needs to walk. Grandma needs to get in the sunlight. Grandma needs to supplement if grandma wants to feel better. Everybody says, tells the older grandma, hey, let's don't do anything. That's probably the worst thing you can do. If you're able and capable of moving and doing these things, you need to do them. If you don't use it, you lose it. And we all know that. So, and those things that that are in motion stay in motion. So we got to think about that. Um, I'm getting to that age where I'm 52 and I've noticed if I sit down for long periods of time, my joints get a little stiff. So what does that mean? Well, that means I'm getting up all the time and moving around because I don't want my joints getting stiff. And again, I'm taking vitamin D, I'm taking other things, but that's where we got to look at. So for you ladies out there who have osteoporosis, you also want your doctor to be looking at your vitamin D levels, or otherwise the calcium's never going to get into the bone. Okay. So then there's a blood test we can look at. Now, these are the three that I picked. We picked the B9, we picked the vitamin D, and we picked the B12. Now, this person's in the green in all of them, but I would like to see him a little higher up here, and I'd like to see him a little higher over here, and even a little higher here. But they're passing. Now I can't say it's great. This is really not passing, I'll be honest. I like to see vitamin D levels between 70 and 100. This is for your immune system. And as we age, we all know our immune system isn't what it used to be. Okay. So you really, when you go get your vitamin D levels checked, you really want them to be between 70 and 100. This person got a passing one with 30, but that's deceiving. That would be like a 60 on a test. That'd be like the bottom. That would be like a D. We don't want to be down there. Guys, if you want these levels optimal. So that's why we say we want our vitamin D level to be between 70 and 100. And then if we're looking at B12, B12 is another. I like to see these at a minimum of 800. So this person still is not there. Now they're good considering, look, they'll let you go as low as 230, but that's too low. This person doesn't have any energy at that point. I mean, and then if it goes down to what, 100, we're having, heart problems. We don't have any energy. We can't move. Our blood pressure's all off. You don't want to wait for it to go down that low. It's like, it's just like anything else. If you want to retire, you start saving when you're young. You don't start saving when you're 70 years old if you want to retire. You got to put the money away earlier. And so this is the same thing. You got to pay attention to these things now because as you age, it's going to be harder to pay attention to these things. And really, I would tell people you're not going to get around supplementing. I don't see, I used to think people could do it with diet, but I really don't think they can anymore because the soil has just been depleted with nutrients. Unless you've got an organic farmer close to you that he's good and he's putting in, he's using manure and he's using, he's planting it in really good soil. I think it's almost impossible to get it from the grocery store. Okay. Now, I think a lot of things are coming out nowadays with the way things are, but I think you're seeing it. So I picked these. These are things you want your doctor looking at. Have them looking at your folate levels. That's vitamin B9. Have them looking at your vitamin D levels and have them looking at your B12 levels. Okay. These are very important. You have to have them for a lot of things. Vitamin D is big for your immune system. Every cell requires it and it's also good for inflammation. So that's good. Now the B vitamins, those are good for energy, but they methylation does over 250 processes in your body. So if these guys are low, they're not going to be able to perform certain processes like making your hormones or making your hair and your skin and your nails and all those good things. then you see what I'm saying? You got to work it from the inside. Then things like the beef tallow and the nail stuff, that works. But if you have dry, crackly nails, I can promise you, I don't think any ointment's going to make it work, make it better. It's going to have to come from the inside out. That's like if somebody has low vitamin D levels, I can promise you this, they're going to be prone towards infections, a weak immune system, um, and they're just not going to be doing real well. They're not going to, and they're going to be prone towards depression. There's not too many people that I've seen that weren't depressed, and I mean severely depressed. They all had vitamin D levels, all had low vitamin D levels, like in the 20s, and no one ever talked about that. So methylation and vitamin D. This is this is an example of methylation. This is a product we have. Now look at if you're a bad methylator, look how much is in here, guys. This is where you got to look. Now this is the combination you need. You need B6 with folate, the L-methylfolate and the L-methylfolate glucosamine. Now look, it's so specific. It's on the left side. And look at this. This is how detailed they're. If you're getting supplements and they're not breaking it down in detail like this, if they just say folate or folic acid, that's not good. It's got this is L-methylfolate. It's telling you exactly what kind. And then you look at the vitamin B12 as methylcobalamin or hydroxycobalamin. Look at that. Look how much it's giving you because it knows these are water soluble vitamins. So what is this going to do? So it's it's going to help with mood improvement and stabilization, mental focus and memory improvement, healthy sleep cycles, better hormone regulation, and enhanced glutathione production. So, what is glutathione production? Let me show you real quick. Okay, so when you do all your B vitamins and stuff, it goes here. It's got to go to glutathione. And what is glutathione? Glutathione is your anti-aging, ladies. That's the surprise. That's the hair, the skin, the nails, that's everything. That's anti-aging. So when you see a woman who looks 10 years, 15 years younger than she is, she's doing this process very well. And she's ending up with a lot of glutathione because this is the number one free radical killer, glutathione. So if we look at your genetics and we see you're not a good detoxer, then you're probably not making a lot of glutathione. I take glutathione pretty much every day. Because, I'm 52, but I want it to pay off when I'm 72 and 82 and 92. I mean, I'm not expecting big results now, but my wife does say I have soft skin, so I'll take it, because guys don't care about that stuff. But anyway, at the end of the day, you've got to do this process. And all I'm saying is if you're bad at making this conversion here, just jump here and take this. That is this right here. You've jumped it. So these are the B vitamins. These are the ones that are going to give you that energy. And you put it. This one's under your tongue. So those of you who have bad gut issues, you don't need to worry about it. But at the end of the day, this is what we give you. And look how much is in here. If you're a bad methylator, you need this much. The vitamins at Walmart aren't going to cut it. They're not going to have that. And they're not going to have the L-methylfolate. It's going to say folic acid. It's going to say cyanocobalamin. Cyanocobalamin is cyanide. Cyanide. It's poisonous. That's rat poison. They allow them to put so much of that in your B vitamins. So anyway, when you know that, you can stay away from it. Okay. But if you don't know that, you're gonna do it. And so that's what I would tell you is, if you know these things, know that here it is. Oh, sorry, here it is. Where am I at? Here it is. Vitamin B9, get that score. Make sure you're up here. You want high levels. You never want to be down here close to the red. Okay, guys? This is like the 60%. You just barely passed. We don't want that. We want to be up in the 90% or better. Okay. Same here. I want 90% or better. I'll settle for 70 to 100, but I'm just saying you got to get up there. And here, same thing. If 1200 is high, I don't want any patients less than 800. Mine is 2200. It's water soluble. So if you stop taking it a day, it'll get out of your system. But you just can't have enough B vitamins because, again, B vitamins, they do all this stuff. I mean, if you're deficient in them, you are gonna have problems with pregnancy. You are gonna have a problem making, you're gonna be weak, you're gonna be fatigued, you're gonna have mouth sores, you're gonna have neurological issues, you're gonna, things are not gonna be working right. You're not gonna be making the hormones and the neurotransmitters. So anyway, those are the three that I would say, when I look back on it, these are three really important ones. And so hopefully I described that in a way that you could, if you were to talk to your medical doctor or your primary care physician or whoever that might be, that maybe they test these so you could see if you were in the high range. You do not want to be on the low range in these. So think of it that way. If you get them tested, you don't want to be down here by the red. You just can't be. Life's too short and you won't feel good. So you want them up optimal ranges so that your body can function and make the neurotransmitters and hormones and your hair and your skin and your nails and all that other stuff. Okay. So anyway, does anybody have any questions? If if there's anything in the chat, um, and if not, that's fine too. Nobody has to have questions, but I was just trying to get this across. So, because these things can be tested with blood. So, yeah, this is a blood test when you go into your doctor. And again, it's folate B9, vitamin D, and vitamin B12. I would say that is a really good place to start with your primary care physician. And if you can get these to a decent optimal level, then that's a good start. You're off to a really good start with the vitamins and minerals because these play an important role. And then you can get into the details of the other things as time goes on. So, and then again, like I said, this is what I look at genetically. Where is it? Here. When you look at these tests, I can tell you this person is probably not going to do well with B12. They're going to have to supplement with B12. There's too many SNPs, we call these. These are called single nucleotide polymorphisms. And what that means is um, it's just not going to make it. It's like an enzyme. It's not going to make it like it needs to make it. So if these were all green, we'd be like, oh, yeah, this person has no problem with B12. You give them a little bit, it's going to go a long ways. But when you see this over here, I know this because this person had neurotransmitter issues. They were on a lot of antidepressant medication. They were having depression issues. And so we got them on methylated vitamins, and that did help. It gave them a lot of energy too. Gave them a lot of energy because they were really depleted and they didn't know it. And they were tired all the time and fatigued. So if you're tired, you have gut issues, hormones, neurotransmitters, think those B vitamins, think methylation. Okay. Okay. So anyway, just wanted to go over those and let you know these are the main ones. Check these with your doctor. B9, vitamin D, and B12. And I think that's a good start. If you can get those up in the optimal ranges, I think you're going to feel better, no doubt. It's just you're kind of guessing unless we know. And this is an easy blood test. Your doctor should know what this is all about. Um, if you ask them, they test them on most people. And there's other ones we can test too, but right now, I'm just giving you guys this information because I don't want to give you too much information. I'm trying to keep it simple and try to educate you as we go on. So, and like I said, I offer these tests. If anyone's interested in a health assessment, just let us know, reach out to us, talk to one of your coaches or something and say, hey, I'd be interested in a health assessment. And then I offer those for free right now. And then I could go over your health with you and see if there's anything that we might be able to do to help you. And I run these tests every day, guys, and I always find problems with people. And and you won't know unless you run them. I mean, I hate to say it. That's how I found my problems is I had to go in, look at myself and look at my daughter in order to get this stuff figured out. Otherwise, I would have never got it figured out. So anyway, I hope this information is helpful, ladies. And if nobody has any questions, we'll see you next week. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about next week. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. Reach out to one of your coaches and say something. If you want to, go over certain things, I'd love to go over what you guys are really interested in. I just try to keep the topics moving and keep it interesting. Things that kind of maybe hold your attention. Things that you probably didn't know much about folate and vitamin B12 today. Maybe you knew a little and you knew the levels, maybe, but definitely get those tested in your blood. And if those come back on the higher end, I think life is going to be better for you. Okay. Oh, somebody's got a question in the chat. Oh, somebody wants thyroid function next week. Okay. I treat a lot of thyroid. We'll go over thyroid. There's a whole test on thyroid, and genetics too, genetics panel. So we'll go over thyroid because thyroid can cause a lot of problems. Okay. All right, ladies, have a good one. Thank you.